Hey guys, it's your boy Y2K Gamer here, and I have recently had a very, very, very good thought. I was recording these most embarrassing videos, and they're still up on my channel. I'm not gonna erase them there, but they haven't been the best quality that I can do. So today I'm gonna go. Well, not today, but it's gonna be every other day. Probably is when I'm going to upload these videos. I'm going to start from kindergarten. I'm going to go all the way up to where I am now in 11th grade. I'm going to tell you the most embarrassing moment of each and every single grade. And then, yeah, let's see how that goes. So, first off, we're going to start with, let's see. I'm not going to do preschool. I thought about doing preschool for a minute, but I'm not going to do that. Let's start off with kindergarten. So, in kindergarten, I used to have this teacher. She was called Miss McClemore. Yeah, no relation to the horrible rapper, which is Macklemore. Anyways, but Miss McClemore was so sweet now that I look back on it, but I was a little demon child, and I would love to terrorize that class. So, I think it was the week before our field week, or something to that effect. We were sitting in class, and we had this thing where we would take home a gerbil, right? And so it was my turn to take home the gerbil, and I took home the gerbil. I was taking care of it. His name was Mr. Pig, because everybody in that class loved Lion King. So we called him Mr. Pig, because when Pumbaa was like, "It's Mr. Pig," that part. We took home Mr. Pig. Well, I took home Mr. Pig, and you know, I was feeding him and stuff. Me and Mr. Pig got really attached. So I had the bright idea to move some of his things into a little coffee can that my dad had recently emptied out. Put stuff into a little coffee can and put Mr. Pig in coffee can with his little food and stuff, and maybe he'd be safe. I put him in my room on my cabinet, and the next day I took the cage back to my teacher. She was like, "Well, did you learn anything from Mr. Pig?" And I was like, Mr. Pig's no longer with us. And she's like, "What do you mean Mr. Pig's no longer with us?" I was like, "Mr. Pig died." And I started fake crying and things. And she took the cage back. And she's like, she pulled me to the side. She's like, "Are you sure about this?" I was like, "Yeah." So we went like a week without Mr. Pig. And I was keeping him in the coffee can. I was feeding him and feeding him and feeding him and feeding him. And then eventually, in the middle of the night, Mr. Pig had escaped from the coffee can, and he was crawling around the house and ended up crawling into my mother's bed, to which he bit my mother's toe, and my mother kicked him across the room. Somehow Mr. Pig was a trooper and survived this. The next day, my mom was like, "You're taking that fucking rat back to school." I was like, "Mom, no." She was like, "Yes." So we put Mr. Pig in the coffee can. We took him back to school, and Miss McClemore was like, I thought you said that Mr. Pig had died," and I was like, "No, I wanted to keep him. Mr. Pig was my hamster, my guy, my main man. I was a lonely kid." Anyways, so I took Mr. Pig back, and she just chewed my ass in front of the whole entire fucking class. Just, "Mr. Pig isn't dead. You're getting detention. Blah, 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 blah." And, I got put in detention for, like, a month and a half, ISS, which is like what we call in-school suspension. So I get out of in-school suspension, and, I'm sitting in the back of the class, and she purposely put me in the back of class because of Mr. Pig. And this is where I get in trouble for another person's actions. Yeah. God, I hated Madison. Madison was my fucking enemy in kindergarten. So tell you what that little bitch did. Okay, so she takes Mr. Pig out of his cage, right, in the middle of a class. And we used to have like those little desks where you could lift them up in the compartments and put all your stuff in there. She lifted up my compartment and put Mr. Pig in my compartment, to where when we came back from lunch, I sat down and I heard squeaking coming out of my desk, and I'm like, "What the fuck?" So I lift up the desk, and Mr. Pig's just going in circles and running around. It eventually jumps out of my desk onto the floor, and I get in more trouble. So I'm putting ISS for another month for something I didn't even do. And so after that other month goes by, it's around the end of the school year, and I still never got over that. There was this one moment where Mr. Pig had diarrhea, and just because of my fucking past with Mr. Pig, Miss McClemore automatically assumed I fed him something he shouldn't have. And she took me out to my parents' car, and she's like, "This little demon child has poisoned Mr. Pig." The fuck you say? And yeah, I was put in another month grounding at home. So yeah, that is the Mr. Pig and Miss McClemore saga, and my kindergarten experience with Mr. Pig. So I hope you all enjoyed. Again, I'm trying to get better content, and I promise I'm going to strive to do it. And I'm going to try to record gaming videos and do my best on it. But thank you guys so much. Like I said, also the Gyrovate video is going to be coming out soon. I'm going to go over to his house, and we're going to record English. We're going to record something, and it's probably going to be released on his channel first, because it's going to be recorded off of his set. But I hope you'll enjoy, and I'll talk to y'all later. Goodbye.